Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me today, because what I'm about to tell you may just change how you see your season of loneliness, your season of isolation, your season where it feels like no one understands you and nothing makes sense. Let me declare this loud and clear. Before God elevates you, He often separates you. See, everyone wants the blessing, everyone wants the anointing, everyone wants the favor, but very few are prepared for the process. And the process, my friends, is never comfortable. The process hurts. The process confuses you. The process looks like you're going backward when in truth you're being positioned for a leap forward. When God called Abraham, He said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." Abraham couldn't stay where he was and receive what God had for him. He had to leave the familiar to step into the extraordinary. Have you ever wondered why, right when you feel closest to your breakthrough, everything and everyone seems to fall away? Why does it feel like when you need people the most, they disappear? Why does it seem like the more you pray for elevation, the more isolated you become? Listen carefully, your separation is not random. It is divine preparation. God never wastes a moment, and He certainly doesn't waste your pain. If He's pulling you back, it's because He's preparing to launch you forward farther than you can dream. Sometimes you have to lose sight of the shore to discover new oceans. Many of us pray for growth, but resist the solitude that comes before it. We beg God for a new level, but fight Him when He removes old distractions. But hear this today, before God trusts you with a blessing that will change lives, He will separate you to change you. He cares more about what's happening inside you than what's happening around you. Look at every story of greatness in Scripture. Noah looked crazy building an ark when there wasn't a cloud in the sky. He was isolated, ridiculed, mocked. But that separation saved him and his family when the flood came. Abraham had to leave his father's house before he could become the father of many nations. Joseph was stripped of his colorful coat, thrown in a pit, sold into slavery, and locked up in prison alone. But in that prison cell, his character was forged. His dependence on God was cemented. And when the time was right, the same people who threw him away had to come bow before him. Let that sink in. Your separation is sacred. It's where God removes the noise so you can hear His voice. It's where He breaks your addiction to approval. It's where He purifies your motives. It's where He teaches you that your value is not attached to a crowd, but to a calling. Some of you are crying over friendships that ended, relationships that broke apart, jobs you lost. But what if that heartbreak is the hand of God leading you to wholeness? What if the closed door is His mercy keeping you from a disaster? In this private place, you learn to pray when no one is watching. You learn to worship when you don't feel like it. You learn to trust when you have no backup plan. You find out if you really believe God is enough when He's all you've got. Many want the palace but resist the prison. Many want the crown but avoid the cross. But without separation, there is no preparation. Without the wilderness, there is no promised land. God is pruning you because He sees the harvest that's coming. He's cutting away your dependence on people's opinions because He wants you to stand firm when He lifts you up. He's teaching you discipline, patience, and resilience because what He's about to release into your life requires maturity and stewardship. He knows that if He gave you the blessing too soon, it would crush you instead of crown you. So He hides you, protects you, shields you in the shadows until your roots are deep enough to handle the weight of the fruit. This separation season may feel like loneliness, but it's actually intimacy. You are not abandoned, you are handpicked for something greater. While everyone else is busy chasing applause and attention, God has chosen to pull you aside to whisper secrets into your spirit that can't be learned in a crowd. You are in a season where your faith is being tested, your patience stretched, your heart purified. The quiet room where no one sees your tears is the training ground for the stage where everyone will see His glory on you. Every tear is watering the seeds of purpose inside you. Every sleepless night is producing endurance. Every unanswered question is building trust. You are being prepared layer by layer for a blessing that will not only change your life, but generations after you. Don't despise the separation. Embrace it as evidence that God thinks you're worth refining. He disciplines those he loves. He prunes what he plans to multiply, and he hides what he intends to showcase. You may feel alone, but you are not forsaken. You are set apart, preserved, and positioned for a move of God that will leave people wondering how you survived what tried to break you. Have you ever wondered why your greatest growth happens in moments when no one is clapping for you, no one is watching you, and no one even knows what you're fighting through behind closed doors? Let me tell you something that will free your mind today. Growth happens in the dark. The most powerful transformation in your life doesn't take place when the spotlight is on you. It happens in hidden places when it's just you, your tears, your doubts, and your God. Think about it. A seed cannot sprout on a shiny stage or a marble floor. It needs dirt. It needs darkness. It needs to be buried where nobody can see it. Struggle, stretch, and push through resistance. We look at blooming flowers and mighty trees and applaud their beauty, but we forget they only stand tall because they first grew deep where no eye could see and no hand could applaud. The roots go down long before the branches reach up. This is exactly how God works with you. He places you in situations where you feel hidden, misunderstood, overlooked, even forgotten. And in those moments, you question his love. You wonder, Lord, why can't people see my potential? Why can't they appreciate what I carry? But if people could see everything too soon, they would judge it, mishandle it, and try to bury you for good. So God buries you himself, not to kill you, but to shield you while you grow. In the dark, your character is formed. In the dark, your pride dies. In the dark, your dependence on human praise is severed. In the dark, you learn how to encourage yourself when nobody is texting you back. In the dark, you find out what faith really means because the evidence is invisible and the feelings lie to you every day. But deep down, your spirit says, keep pushing, keep believing, keep pressing. Joseph sat in the darkness of a prison cell, but that prison cell prepared him for the palace. David hid in caves running from Saul long before he ever wore a crown. Jesus himself prayed alone in Gethsemane, sweating drops of blood, while his own disciples fell asleep a few feet away. Everyone wants resurrection, but who wants to endure the tomb? Everyone wants a throne, but who wants the garden of agony? Yet the truth remains, it's what you do in the dark that determines how high you'll shine in the light. God does his best work in hidden seasons. He hides you so he can heal you. He isolates you so he can anoint you. He buries you so he can build you from the inside out. Many people want elevation but lack foundation. They want influence but have no integrity to sustain it. So God, in his mercy, buries them deeper until their roots are unshakable. The world celebrates quick success and overnight fame, but anything that grows too fast without deep roots will fall when the storm hits. God is more interested in making you storm-proof than spotlight ready. If your roots are strong, no wind, no rumor, no betrayal, no loss can uproot you. So next time you feel like you're in a dark place, financially, emotionally, spiritually, remind yourself, I'm not buried to die, I'm planted to grow. This dirt covering you is not your grave, it's your greenhouse. In this hidden place, you have permission to break, to heal, to pray raw prayers, to build muscles that can't be seen, but will hold up everything God is about to do in you and through you. While no one sees your tears, heaven records every one of them. While no one hears your late night cries, God bottles them up as evidence of your pressing faith. And when the time is right, what's been growing quietly in secret will burst forth so powerfully that no man, no demon, no lie, no setback will be able to stop the bloom. You think you're stuck? No, you're sprouting. You think you're hidden? No, you're protected. You think this dark season is punishment? No, it's preparation for a harvest so big it requires deep roots to carry the weight without collapsing under the blessing. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why certain people just drift away from you when you start getting serious about your purpose? Why is it that as soon as you begin to rise, you notice old friends don't call as much, family doesn't understand you anymore, and circles that once felt like home now feel suffocating? Let this hit your spirit today. Not everyone can go where you're going. You've got to wrap your mind around this truth if you want to survive the next level. See, there are some people perfectly suited for the version of you they've always known. The version that compromised to keep the peace, that laughed at jokes you didn't even find funny, that downplayed your vision so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable around your greatness. But when you start stepping into the fullness of who God created you to be, that old version dies, and with it, old connections will too. Don't be shocked when the same people who cheered for your mediocrity get silent when you choose excellence. Don't get offended when those who partied with you can't pray with you. Some folks are only connected to your comfort zone. They don't have the capacity for your calling. And if you try to drag them into a season God never prepared them for, they will sabotage it from the inside out. Look at Abraham. God gave him a promise that his descendants would outnumber the stars. But before he could fulfill it, he said, leave your country, your people, and your father's household. Abraham had to cut ties with familiar faces and places because the blessing was tied to obedience, not to nostalgia. Some of you are stuck because you're loyal to the past instead of obedient to your future. Think about Lot's wife. She couldn't let go of what God was pulling her out of, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Frozen in a moment she was supposed to escape. Don't let your refusal to release people keep you stuck in a place you've outgrown. Some connections are seasonal, and stretching them past their expiration date will contaminate your destiny. I know it hurts when they ghost you. I know it stings when the phone stops ringing. I know the loneliness feels heavy when you used to have a crowd. But trust me on this, subtraction is often addition in disguise. Every time someone walks away, your spiritual weight gets lighter so you can run faster toward purpose. Every time a conversation dries up, it's heaven saying, focus forward. They don't fit this blueprint anymore. Jesus himself had crowds following him, but he poured his deepest truths into a select few. And even within the 12 disciples, only 3 got to see him transfigured on the mountain. Not everyone has earned access to your mountaintop moments. Learn to discern the difference between companions for the journey and distractions for your destiny. Some people come into your life to teach you lessons, not to build with you forever. When the lesson is learned, let them go in love, not bitterness. Stop sending invitations to people who have no intention of celebrating your next chapter. If they couldn't clap when you planted seeds, they don't deserve front row seats when you harvest fruit. This is your season to travel light. Carry purpose, not people. Carry vision, not validation. Carry favor, not old baggage. God is trimming your circle because he knows that your future requires courage, discipline, and faith, and he won't let dead weight slow you down. People may call you arrogant when you set new boundaries. Let them talk. People may label you disloyal when you stop entertaining old habits. Let them whisper. They don't understand that your silence is not pettiness, it's protection. You are protecting your peace, your oil, your focus, and your fire. So stop mourning connections that couldn't survive your growth. Stop begging people to stay when God is clearly showing you they're not qualified for the next level. Be grateful for the memories, but be more committed to the mission. The lighter your circle, the higher you can soar. Some doors won't open until you travel alone. Some blessings won't drop until you release what's in your hand. Some battles are won the moment you stop fighting to keep what God is removing. Have you ever asked yourself why it feels like when you decide to get serious about God, he starts stripping away every plan B you thought you had? Why is it that the more you pray for strength, the more he removes the people, places, and props you used to lean on? It's because the wilderness is where dependence is built, and dependence is where destiny is born. You can't learn real trust sitting comfortably in abundance. You learn trust when the brook dries up and the ravens stop coming with bread. You learn trust when the paycheck doesn't cover the bills, and yet somehow you're still standing. You learn trust when the friends you thought would always be there vanish when the storm hits. Now, don't let the wilderness fool you. It's not a curse, it's a classroom. It's the training ground where God rewrites your understanding of who your source really is. Many people say God is my provider, but secretly their faith is in the paycheck, the connection, the loan, the applause, or the relationship. So in his mercy, God will take you where all the crutches fail, all the backups run dry, and all the familiar comforts break down. just to prove he is still enough. Look at Elijah. One moment he's calling down fire from heaven and shutting the mouths of false prophets. The next moment he's hiding by a dried up brook fed by ravens. What does that show us? Even the strongest prophets get sent to hidden places where they must trust God day by day, meal by meal. There was no refrigerator by that brook, no 5-star meal plan, only daily bread. That's dependence. Some of you are wondering why God hasn't answered that big prayer yet. It's because he wants you to stop worshiping the gift and start worshiping the giver. He's not interested in raising spoiled children who only love him when their pockets are full and doors swing wide open. He wants sons and daughters who can stand in famine and still declare, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. The wilderness strips you of the false sense of control. You find out fast you don't have it all figured out. You find out you can't fix every problem. You learn how small you are and how big your God truly is. It's in this raw place of surrender that your spirit becomes unshakable. Israel wandered the wilderness for 40 years because God was detoxing Egypt out of them. They had been delivered physically, but were still slaves mentally. The wilderness burned out the slave mindset so they could enter the promised land as warriors, not captives. Some of you are fighting the wilderness instead of learning from it. God didn't bring you here to kill you. He brought you here to build you. In this dry place, your prayer life deepens because you can't rely on the preacher's sermon alone. Your worship becomes raw because you've got no audience but heaven. Your obedience becomes quicker because you know you can't afford to delay when manna falls only for today. This place teaches you to cherish the presence of God above the presence of people. Moses met God in a burning bush in the wilderness. Jesus battled temptation in the wilderness. John the Baptist preached repentance in the wilderness. Great things happen in barren places. What you see as emptiness, God sees as a canvas for miracles. Stop cursing your wilderness and start questioning what it's producing in you. Are you more patient than you were last year? Are you more compassionate toward others who are suffering? Are you quicker to pray instead of panic? Are you willing to follow even when you can't see the map? These are the treasures of the wilderness, spiritual muscles that can't be built in comfort. God loves you too much to keep you dependent on anything or anyone but him. So he strips, he shakes, he separates. Not because he's cruel, but because he's after your complete trust. When you come out of this wilderness, you won't bow to fear the way you used to. You won't sell your peace for people's approval anymore. You'll know in your bones that if all else fails, your God remains faithful. Have you ever looked back at moments you thought would break you and realized they were actually the making of you? Have you ever wondered why your greatest strength was forged in seasons of your deepest pain? There's a divine secret tucked in plain sight. God uses pain as a tool to sharpen your purpose and strengthen your resilience. It may feel like punishment, but it's actually preparation for what you asked him for. So many people pray, Lord, use me, but shrink back when the fire comes to refine them. We want the crown, but not the cross, the platform, but not the process. But here's the truth. Pain is not a detour. It's part of the direct route to purpose. Diamonds don't form in comfort. They form under crushing pressure. Gold doesn't shine until it's been through the furnace. Trees don't develop deep roots unless they face storms and droughts that force them to dig deeper. God knows what you're carrying inside. Gifts, dreams, assignments that could impact thousands. But before he allows you to carry the weight of that blessing, he allows you to endure the weight of testing. He lets certain betrayals cut deep to teach you forgiveness that words alone can't teach. He allows closed doors to toughen your faith muscles so you won't crumble when bigger doors open. He allows critics to rise up so you learn how to stand unshaken in the face of slander. Look at Joseph again. Betrayed by his brothers, thrown in a pit, sold like property, lied on by Potiphar's wife, imprisoned unjustly. All that pain didn't disqualify him, it positioned him. Without that pit, there would be no palace. Without that prison, he would not have the wisdom to interpret Pharaoh's dream and save a nation from famine. What looked like a tragedy was actually a training ground. If you're facing pain right now, don't waste it. Don't drown it out with distractions or numb it with cheap substitutes. Lean into it. Ask God, what are you producing in me through this? Pain is a teacher that lectures best when the room is silent and you're out of excuses. It peels back every mask and shows you who you really are and who he really is. David learned how to fight Goliath because he first fought lions and bears in the wilderness. Battles no one saw, victories no one celebrated. Those hidden battles taught him courage and skill that a crowd couldn't teach. And when the giant finally fell, it wasn't luck, it was preparation meeting opportunity. Your current struggle is not random. It's handpicked by God to prepare you for a level you can't yet see. He's toughening your skin so petty insults won't derail you. He's purifying your motives so you won't bow to the temptation of pride when you succeed. He's building your spiritual backbone so you can stand alone if necessary and still carry the vision forward. Don't envy people who seem to have it easy. Roots grow deep when storms rage. God trusts you with pain because he knows it won't destroy you. It will develop you. Some of you have been asking him for a platform to speak, to lead, to influence. But the platform you're begging for requires endurance, wisdom, and humility that can only be formed through pressing seasons. Pain is proof that something powerful is being birthed in you. It's the labor room of purpose. You can't skip contractions and still expect a healthy delivery. In the same way, you can't skip heartbreak, disappointment, rejection, or betrayal and still expect an unshakable faith that can carry destiny. Look at Jesus, our perfect example. He was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. His pain unlocked our redemption. If pain produced freedom for the whole world through him, imagine what it can produce through you when you surrender it back to God. So next time you find yourself crying in the middle of the night, whisper to your soul, this is working for my good. I am not being crushed. I am being crafted. I am not being abandoned. I am being anointed. This pain is my passport to a purpose that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Have you ever felt like your life is on pause? Like you're waiting in a hallway with doors that just won't open? Have you ever asked yourself why you keep doing the right thing, praying the right prayers, sowing the right seeds, yet still feel stuck in the same spot, watching others run ahead while you sit in silence? Lean in close and let this truth hit you deep. The waiting season is not wasted time. It's where God refines your patience, matures your faith, and aligns your blessing with perfect timing. We live in a culture that hates to wait. We want fast answers, fast miracles, fast promotions. But in God's kingdom, waiting is a workshop. It's where your trust grows legs, where your hope learns endurance, and where your dreams are purged of selfish ambition so they can carry his glory and not just your name. Think about David again. Anointed king as a teenager, but chased through caves for years before he ever touched the throne. God could have snapped his fingers and given him the crown overnight. But a quick crown with an immature heart would have turned blessing into a curse. So instead, God let him wait, not to punish him, but to polish him. The wilderness was not a delay. It was the divine workshop where the shepherd's sling was traded for a king's scepter. You see, waiting exposes what you really believe about God. Anyone can worship when the promise is fresh and the crowd is cheering. But can you worship when the room is empty? Can you worship when you prayed and nothing changed? Can you worship when you see others blessed with the very thing you asked for? That's where real maturity is born. Not in answered prayers, but in unanswered ones that reveal your heart posture. Some doors are locked, not because God is withholding from you, but because he is protecting you from walking into something your character can't yet sustain. Some blessings require more preparation behind the scenes than you could ever imagine. If God gave it too soon, it would break you instead of build you. I know it feels like you're stuck, but what if you're really being staged for something that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard? What if the silence is not absence but strategy? While you're waiting, heaven is moving pieces you can't see, aligning hearts you haven't met yet, orchestrating events you couldn't plan if you tried. Don't let the enemy lie to you in the hallway. He'll whisper, God forgot you. God is punishing you. You're wasting your time. Shut him down with this truth. I'm not forgotten. I'm being formed. I'm not denied. I'm being developed. I'm not late. I'm being launched at the right moment. Look at Abraham and Sarah. They waited decades for Isaac. Look at Hannah. She wept bitter tears for years before Samuel was born. Look at Jesus himself, hidden in Nazareth for 30 years before 3 years of public ministry.